Hello, snowboarders of the internet. I'm your host, Avran LeFeber, and in this video, we're going to break down Deeluxe's ID Y20, their premier high-end boot. There is a ton of tech in this boot. Now remember, the best boot is the one that fits your foot and fits your needs. So if this doesn't fit your foot or your needs, probably not the boot for you. But the point of this video is to be able to break down what's in it so you have an idea of what you're getting into. Now, if you are thinking of shopping online, we do have affiliate links down below. I do not recommend shopping online for boots, but hey, you do you. If you're going into your local shop, slap them a high five and say we sent you. With the shell of the ID Y20, you don't have a ton of seams, but you have a ton of parts. What's nice about it not having as many seams, less stuff that can break in, less areas of wear. Around the toe, you got that TPU with the welded seam right there, so you don't have a lot of excess material. So when you really get last click syndrome and crank down on this, you don't have any areas where this is really going to separate on you. It should just lock in uniform, and it'll be a little more rigid. So if you're hiking anything steep and you got to kick your toe in, it's not going to collapse on you. On the ankle articulation, you do have more of a vertical articulation here, and this will help you when you go to flex into this. And as it breaks in, obviously you're going to get more flex with it. On the tongue of this, it is plastic, it's molded. This is going to be more rigid. This is going to help it retain its flex and be more rigid if you need it. What I like about this is they actually took into account how this will flex and created a softer area where that gold is, so that you don't have to worry about it creasing or cracking. It's going to help with that natural flexion of the boot. On the back spine, while it isn't the highest back spine out there, it does have some harder material to it, and it comes up a fair amount. It's a multi-piece design, and you can see that everything in here isn't just for cosmetics. It's designed to give you that rebound and stability, but it also comes down lower to the sole where it's attached, so it integrates to the sole to give a more uniform flex to this. You also have this material up here, so that way those of you with a bigger calf, it will push out just a little bit more. So we're not gonna really do anything scientific here. We're just gonna flex this boot, and there's give in that ankle articulation, but there's a ton of rebound with it. This is going to be a more responsive boot for sure. You can feel that, you can see that when you actually look at the shell of this thing and just the way that it's built, and with the amount of plastic in there and the TPU and the urethane and everything working in there, it's designed to have that response. One of the nice things that Deeluxe does is they offer tongue stiffeners that you can actually slide in, so you could stiffen this boot up even more if you absolutely wanted to. Inside the shell, you do have heat reflective tape, just a nice added feature for those of you that get colder feet. This does help reflect that heat back into the liner so that your feet don't get cold as fast. With the lacing on this boot, you do have dual BOA. So you've got the one at the top on the front for the upper, and then you've got the one on the side for the lower. This allows customization. You do have the nylon cable in there, so it's not going to be as tough as a steel cable, but with the amount of eyelets that this actually has, you can get this a lot more snug. Now, one thing that Deeluxe does offer is an additional booster strap for the shell, and you can actually feed it through the back here, through this loop, and you can put that around there if you need to get more tightness. Now, if you're doing this right off the bat with the boot, it probably actually doesn't fit your calf size then, because the BOA should be able to tighten all the way down around that. Now, if you've got a boot that's a little more clapped out, or you've ridden this for say 100+ days and you're just trying to extend the life, it does make sense to put this on there. When it comes to the lacing on the liner, you have this sleeve with Velcro on the back, so it will attach to the shell, just kind of keep it a little more snug, but it's basically a free floating liner with a drawstring on the front, and you actually have lace locks at the top here on each side. So if you really want it snug around the top, you can lock them through that. Or if you wanted to run it a little more loose around the top, let's say you got a bigger calf, you could also lace it up this way with it down below. It's kind of your preference. But what's nice is if you're one of those people that really likes a loose heel, which is weird to me, but maybe you want like a skate feel, you can remove this sleeve if you absolutely want to. You can take this right off, and then you don't have to worry about it. You can just let the shell do all the work in there if that's one of your things. When it comes to the sole of this boot, you do get Deluxe's Spectra sole. So this is a little bit thicker of a rubber. You've got that hollowed out or cored out heel pocket back there. So it creates an air pocket. So when you land on your heel, you're not going to bruise it. But then you have this uniform flex through the sole. And while there is some give to it, it's not as much as other ones in the boots. You're going to feel a little bit underfoot, but not a crazy amount because there is a ton of rubber in here that's going to help dampen that kinetic energy. That sole is a little bit beefier than other ones that Deluxe has. You sit just a little bit higher as well. All right, we're about halfway through this video. Go down, give it a thumbs up if you're enjoying it, or a thumbs down if you're not. It doesn't really matter. It feeds the algorithm either way. But if you're new here, why don't you subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the programming we've got coming out for you. This boot features Deluxe's Stage 5 liner, and this is a more beefy liner than the other ones that they sent us. It's a little more rigid, and it is a fully heat moldable liner, so you got that going for you. That's one of the things Deluxe is actually known for, is heat moldable liners. Little known fact, Deluxe used to be owned by Reichly, or still is owned by Reichly. I don't know. Is Reichly even a brand at this point? But they were the ones that really pushed heat molding in their liners, and it carried over to Deluxe boots. What I like about this liner is you got dual density foams in there, so it's going to flex different at different portions of it. So you got a little bit more give up at the top. It's a little more rigid where that gray reflective section is, and then the gold section is a little more malleable and it will push out. You do have a big seam here on the side. That's just something that some of you may or may not feel. Kind of depends on your foot. And then inside this, you're going to have a little bit more malleable foam around the top up there. And the way that it's actually sewn, it kind of gives it some flex points back here on the actual harness for it. That's where your J-bars are. And these are not that thick. They're a little more rigid, but because they're made out of rubber, they're very malleable. They're playful if you need to. So that's going to allow for ankle flexion. Some people, depending on the shape of their ankle bones, may have issues with this. I just want you to be aware of that. Now, when we go inside the liner, you do have a nice heel pocket in there, and it's not narrow. This is more like a medium width than anything, but this gold material also grips your sock when you go to lift up in it, so it makes it harder for you to get heel lift in there. Just a nice little added feature with this. The footbed in this boot is still an afterthought. Get rid of it, get a good aftermarket insole, something with some good posting and some good shaping to it, or a full custom, if you will. Just something that gives you better arch support. This does not have it. This is a 27.5 Mondo point, or a US 9.5. We're going to measure this without the liner. At the back, it's about 10.25. At the front, it is just shy of 10. Measuring this with the liner, at the back, it's about 11.5. At the front, it's right around 10. Measuring this at the widest portion of the forefoot, starting at the 1 inch mark, this comes to just past 5 inches, so it's just a little over 4 inches wide, so it is a little wider in the forefoot, and there is going to be some give in this foam as well. Sole length of this is just shy of 12 inches. Like what we're doing over here? Want to support us further? Swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and become a member. Sure, I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. I was really impressed with this boot. Like, for the last few seasons, and actually probably the last decade plus, anytime I looked at a Deluxe boot, I was like, why does this just look like it's old? That's the one issue I had. This, when I even saw it in the catalog, was like, this intrigues me. And then seeing it in person, the second I took it out of the box, I was like, holy crap. This is what a good boot should look like. Like, there's a lot of tech to it. The way it's designed, it looks good. And then going through the liner and seeing the stitching, the quality, everything like that. This is solid. What I like about this boot is that it's designed to last longer with the way the shell is built. I think that this boot would be good for someone that wants a responsive one that doesn't need an ultra stiff boot, but something that's a little bit stiffer. And remember, boot flex is going to be subjective. If you're 5'6" and 160 pounds and a size 10, you're going to flex it different than me than 6 foot, 200 pounds and a size 10. That's just a given right in there. So boot flex is very subjective, and you do want to try them on to see how they work for you. I know not all of you have that ability to do that, but that's just something that I like to say. By and large, though, the ID Y20, I think, will be a really good boot for someone that's all mountain crushing or more on the free ride spectrum. And the fit on this is a little different. It's not going to be super narrow. It's not super wide. It's just right there in that perfect in between. And I think that for those people that understand that, it's good. The downside to this boot, though, is the footbed. The stock insole is a joke. I mean, it's a piece of crap, I'll be honest with you. But everything else on this boot is solid. All right, this has been the boot breakdown on the Deeluxe ID Y20. Hopefully you learned a little something about this boot. If you didn't, well, that's all on you. And if you're looking for more things to watch, we have a lot of programming on this channel. So go watch one of these videos here or wherever I put it at the end of this.